Welcome back to the Ed Show, and thanks for watching tonight. We continue to follow that Wisconsin State Supreme Court race. The Associated Press reporting now with 23% of the vote being reported. David Prosser, the incumbent Republican, with 50%. Joanne Kloppenberg, the challenger, at 50%. It looks like it's going down to the wire. We'll keep you up to date. And with the government shutdown approaching, Democrats say the GOP is moving the goalposts. Speaker Boehner is signaling that the GOP will not back a budget agreement unless all 218 Republicans are on board. But that was not originally the case. The Republican leadership previously seemed willing to reach out and do a deal that got support from both parties, even if they lost some far-right wingers in the process. Well, the latest move proves that Boehner wants to win the Tea Party votes even if they are not needed for passage. And even though the Tea Party wants a shutdown, 62% of the Tea Party supporters say a government shutdown would be a good thing. Needless to say, Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid says he's not optimistic on the Republicans' ability to compromise.
They're not trying to arrive at the finish line. It appears that they're going to do everything they can to satisfy the Tea Party. There's only so much that we can do. We have bent over backwards to try to be fair and reasonable.
Joining me now is editor and publisher of The Nation, Katrina Vanden. Heuvel. Good to have you with us tonight, Katrina. This is a barn burner politically. Who wins, who loses? How do you call it at this hour?
Well, I think at the moment, Boehner looks like he's an appeaser. He's trying to appease the Tea Party and the extremist right wing of the Republican Party. I think President Obama in his press conference came out looking fair and reasonable. He must have used that word 16 times. And he looks like the adult in chief. And you got these people in the Tea Party in the sandbox trying to score political points. Well, you got an economic recovery, very slow but moving. And you got if you get a government shutdown, it shows what the Tea Party and the extremist Republicans will do in service to a cynical and hateful view of government.
Katrina, why won't John Boehner say, 60 million, 40 million, 40 billion is good enough, we'll get the rest later? Why won't he turn to the Tea Party and say it's time to take the deal because we could hurt a lot of people?
Well, you saw today the real opening salvo in the big debate this country needs to have about two fundamental views of what kind of nation we will be, and that was Representative Paul Ryan of the Budget Committee in the House. And he basically wants to eviscerate government. He talks about balancing the budget, but what he wants to do is balance a budget on the backs of those who have the least, who can sacrifice the least. And Boehner is both a hostage to the Tea Party and, I would argue, a hostage to Paul Ryan, who is trying to be the leader of a party which Boehner ostensibly claims to lead. And he's caught in the middle. This man, John Boehner, is caught in the middle, and American people will suffer on all fronts for that.
The president talked today about the country taking a haircut. Here it is.
So this notion that somehow we're offering smoke and mirrors, try tell that to the Democrats out there. Because part of what we've done is we've been willing to cut programs that we care deeply about, that are really important. But we recognize that given the fiscal situation that we're in, everybody's got to make some sacrifices. Everybody's got to take a haircut.
Some call it a scalping. That's what I'd call it, a scalping instead of a haircut. Now, politically, are the Democrats in danger with their base? Because the president right there admitted, we've made some pretty tough cuts in programs that Democrats really care about.
Yeah, I think in a way the president is going to come out as the adult in chief. On the other hand, because the president hasn't fought harder, he's been in a way a kind of shrinking, invisible president in these debates. He hasn't reset the terms of the debate. Ed, we do not have a budget deficit crisis. We are a wealthy country. You had on Senator Sanders earlier. Where are the alternative streams of revenue that could avoid the cuts to the Pell Grants, to the programs in this country that help the middle class and the working people of this country? They have been off the table because this administration has not fought harder. So $33 billion looks moderate, but we shouldn't be at this number. We are caught between an extremist Republican Party and a White House which needs to fight harder. Courage of convictions. I think Paul Ryan's politics are despicable. I think the media, for calling him tough, brave, and ambitious, ignore the fact that this is a man who, through his support for Bush tax cuts, gave us a deficit that shouldn't be one we have. But at the same time, the Democratic Party, the president, needs to have the courage of their convictions to tell people we want a government not on your back, but on your side.
A contentious caucus meeting today by the Democrats, and they come out saying we're going on to the offensive. What does that mean to you?
Well, it should mean that there are more things on the table so we don't have these kinds of cuts to those who have not contributed to the terrible economic crisis this country has gone through. We need a different kind of economic framework. We need one of short-term, great investment in rebuilding this country, a different kind of social contract, and not all this talk about crisis. But we need leadership from the White House. I understand there's systemic obstacles this president faces.
How did he do today?
Today, as I said, he came out, he looked reasonable, he looked like he was interested in the people's business, he spoke of the need for government to be on the side of economic recovery. But, Ed, you can look good because of the barrenness of the landscape around you. Yeah. Look, you got these Republicans. Yeah. Look at what is going on in our country. We can do better, and the president is a reasonable man.
Katrina, Vanden, Heuvel, great to have you with us tonight.
You.
Thanks so much for joining us.